Bhaumik. So basically, I'm an indie hacker. I build apps in React Native and on the store. So it's the month of Feb, so I'm here to start my love story with useEffect. I've actually changed the title. Like from you, I've changed it to I. So because I don't know about this, but I had a wrong perception of useEffect like some days back. So let's start. So how many of you think that in this application that you see, you're going to require useEffect? Like it's a simple application where we have 3 input variables, and based on that, the 4th input variable changes. So go ahead. Do we require useEffect here? Okay, let's proceed. So basically, if you use useEffect here, this is how you use. So you have 4 variables, like state variables, and then you have a useEffect, and you have dependencies. And whenever one of these changes, you calculate the interest rate, and then you send the 4th variable that is printed in the top. Now let's see it in terms of implementation. And what is the problem with this implementation? So I've included one user to calculate the number of re-renders that happen. So suppose if I change this value to 12, you see the render count is incremented by 2, not by 1. So it's 15 now. If I change any value, it's 17 now. So why is this happening? Sorry, I'll just okay. So here, if the current render count is 17, if I change it, it is incremented to 19 and then 21. So it is being incremented by 2. So whenever you change anything here, the render count gets incremented by 2 instead of 1. It is entering twice. So why is this happening? So what happens is, whenever you change the value here, suppose here, like if I suppose change the rate, the handle rate change gets triggered, and the set rate is called, and the rate value is changed, and then it is changed in the DOM as well. Then the component gets re-rendered by the change value of the rate. And useEffect actually runs asynchronously. It doesn't wait your DOM doesn't wait for useEffect to run before getting rendered. So once you set the rate, the useEffect runs, and again another state variable changes. So then it re-renders again. So that is why you are getting 2 renders here, because of this set state, the second set state you have. So let's see how can we solve this problem. So basically, instead of having a state variable for interest rate, you can have a simple variable, like simple constant variable for this. You don't need a state for this. So let's see the render count then. So currently the render count is 3. If I increment, if I change any value, it will be like, see, the render count is only incremented by 1. So what happens here is, whenever you change any value, like the state is changed, like suppose if you change the principal is changed, and the component gets re-rendered and comes from here to here and skips the initialization of the state variable. But this variable is initialized at that point, and the interest is recalculated, and this interest is getting rendered in the UI. So you don't need a state variable in this scenario. You can simply have a simple variable. But the problem arises when you are doing a heavy calculation here. Like calculating interest is a simple operation, but what if it would have been a heavy numerical calculation? So in that scenario, you can use memo instead of using useEffect if you are having any heavy calculation in this scenario. Now, is there any like in this example we eliminated useEffect? So is there any rule out there like for like when should you use useEffect or when you shouldn't use useEffect? How do you get to know that thing? So actually there is one, and it is in the deepest darkest place of the world where we all don't want to go, which is called documentation. So let's go there. So if I open the documentation and then I search for useEffect here. So it's written here, useEffect is a React hook that lets you synchronize a component in an external system. So external system is the key here. So wherever you have an external system, you use useEffect. External system is anything, like suppose here, in this example, they are fetching bio. Fetch bio is actually fetching your data from the backend, which is external system, and then synchronizing your React ecosystem with it. So this is an example. Now let's go to next. So how many of you think that require useEffect here? So the simple timer, which is incremented after every second, and you have a pause button, and then you have a reset button for that. Very good. Okay, so let's see the code. So basically here, like you have account variable, and you have a useEffect, and you have two buttons like pause and resume, and then you have a reset button. So what happens is whenever you is running changes, your useEffect is triggered, and it checks whether your is running is true. Based on that, it sets the interval again, and if it is false, nothing is going to get executed here, and your cleanup function is going to run. So the cleanup function actually runs before the next useEffect runs, and it also runs when your component actually unmounts. So that is the thing. So if using useEffect is compulsory, what is the external system here? Can anyone answer? Yeah, so how is the window timer an external system? Where does it sit? Sorry? Yeah, but the remounting is inside the React ecosystem itself, right? How is it? What is the external system here? Yeah, that's correct. So basically, set timeout, set interval, and all these things are browser APIs. React doesn't provide any kind of timer. It's not inside React. So whenever you initialize it, the timer is running here, and whatever callback function you pass, it gets passed to the callback queue when you reach that time. And then whenever the call stack is empty, your event loop pushes that thing here. So this thing is the external system here. So external system is not only your backend, external system can be anything which is outside the React ecosystem. So even sockets are external systems for that matter. So here we have a simple example of WebSockets, which we are using to add event listener to a WebSocket or to remove the event listener to a WebSocket. So yeah. Now what useEffect is not. This is actually really important. So useEffect is not an event listener for a component change. So basically this is the misconception that even I had, that whatever you add to the dependency, useEffect is to run that code. It is kind of event listener to run a piece of code to a particular change in the component. That is not what useEffect is. That is why it is not recommended for any kind of events which is a push event, I would say. So if you even read the React documentation, it is recommended not to use useEffect with post APIs. If you use stick code in React, so it runs useEffect twice because that. So here, DOM is an external system, but if you access the DOM directly in React, it is an external system. But still, it's a push event. So whenever the count changes, you want the DOM title to get updated. This is a push event. So it is not recommended to use React in this scenario. You can simply put this DOM.title to something in the increment function itself. Now, the other thing that it is not is managing, like a tool for managing state in the component. So I've seen this, like I have done it a lot. So instead of simply writing, the initial state in your use state, many people have a useEffect like this, in which you initialize the initial state. Sometimes even for calculations, we use like to set state for some other variable. Even the simple trace thing we saw that. So it is not this. The third thing it is not, which is pretty common, I've seen it in a lot of tutorials, it is not a life cycle event. So in a lot of tutorials I've seen that they show how you can implement component in mount or component in update in function components. That is the wrong way of thinking function component itself. So function components are stateless components, and you have hooks to have something outside so that we can access it. So whenever you have this thing in mind that how can I implement useEffect in a scenario of component in mount, you should just think how can I structure my code in such a manner that I don't require component in mount. So it's not a life cycle method. And now we'll see what useEffect is. So useEffect is a React hook that lets you synchronize a component with an external system. Nothing less, nothing more. Thank you.